Welcome to Date with the Devil. I'm Dan, and I just went on a date with the devil.
Hi.
We saw a fantastic film called Wonder Woman, and we are going to review it for your listening pleasure and viewing pleasure.
Yes.
What did you think of Wonder Woman?
I was pleasantly surprised by Wonder Woman. I came in cautiously optimistic. I had good buzz around it. Very good buzz.
Unlike most DC films.
Yes, that's the key there.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been disappointed in the past, and we came in being pleasantly surprised. On one of our dates, we went to see Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah.
And that was
That's how she became the devil.
Yeah. This did not look like this before. Anyway, yeah, so I came out very satisfied with what I saw. It was really great. Gal Gadot's performance was quality.
Yeah, I would say I was worried about her going in because I didn't really like her that much in Batman v Superman. I felt like she was super shoehorned into that. Mm-hmm. She felt very bland and flat. Here she had a pretty good script.
Yeah.
And she showed a range of emotions. She was funny. She was happy. She was fierce. I think she's not what I wanted or expected for Wonder Woman, but she did a very good job.
Right.
I think her chemistry with Chris Pine was really great. One of the best superhero chemistries we've seen.
Superhero couples.
Yeah.
It was pleasant seeing him in the girlfriend role.
Yeah.
And they didn't walk away in girlfriend role. Of what is typical for superhero movies, and how they didn't shy away from poking at that a little bit. Very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah. I think he was really funny. I think that they shared... there's been a few times now where, since the success of Marvel movies and stuff, they've tried to shoehorn in humor into DC movies, and it's mostly fallen flat. This one, it never felt forced. It just felt like they wrote good comedy, and it was charismatic, and it was nice. And I was really worried by the trailers. I felt like a lot of the one-liners were just kind of bleh.
So that was my concern. Yeah. I was thinking, I'm sure I would like these one-liners in the context of the film, but now I'm seeing them. Yeah. In the trailer, and it's not going to feel as fresh. Yeah. But I would say that they felt even better. Yeah. And it won out.
I didn't watch all the trailers, but I was impressed at how many big laugh moments they didn't show in the trailers.
I have to respect that, because I think that marketing is one of those things that can either really make a movie sink or swim.
Yeah.
And not just because of, financial cost of how much money is invested into those marketing schemes.
Yeah. So, because I just thought all the stuff with her, knowing about sex and talking about the books that she read, and him being awkward about lying. We should have said spoiler warning, by the way. Spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning. If you see the devil in it, there are going to be spoilers, Devil's in the details.
I'll just throw it down the bottom at the beginning. Devil's in the details. That was good. I appreciated that, Devil. So, yeah, him not wanting to lie next to her in the boat, I thought was really funny. I liked how this felt almost like a Disney movie at the first third, at least. It was we're watching an adult Disney movie. She wants to go and spread her wings and has to leave her family and go on a great journey.
I made a joke about Moana. Yeah. It is literally on an island.
Yeah.
And they do have to Diana. Say away. Diana. Oh, good. Less good.
Yeah. Less
good joke.
I liked that they didn't just make her stupid. That they managed to have those fish out of water things while still making sort of she's almost making fun of us more than it is making fun of her for not knowing things.
Right. And it comes back down to kind of the theme of humanity, and it's beautiful and it's evil and it's all in one. Yeah. We can be corrupt while still loving. Yeah. And that comes, that's shown in how people react to her and she reacts to people.
Yeah. They made her innocent and silly a little bit, but she always had a backbone, and she wasn't just look at the ditzy person who doesn't know anything.
Right. They could have very easily done that, and I was concerned about that being a thing, because it's not female representation is so great. And
this is the first real female superhero movie that we're talking about.
She's the lead. It's her name there.
Yeah.
And
not to say that we didn't have Elektra and Catwoman and stuff, but this, let's be honest, this is the first, huge deal. Certainly in the new modern era of superhero films.
In this generation, let's put it that way, of superhero films. Yeah, so with that, they could have definitely made her the butt of a lot of jokes, but we were laughing with her, not at her.
Well, I had a friend message me the other day that said that they knew someone who went, and the way they described her character reminded them of Starfire from Teen Titans. And on paper, I can understand that, right? But that would have been a real issue. Yes. She wasn't that. Yes. Because she was still Wonder Woman. She just didn't know everything. I think it was very smart that she knew about men and she knew about sex. That really helped.
I was worried about that, too, of how much of this is going to be her just being enamored by the idea of him being a man. And it really wasn't.
I think they played with it nicely. Yeah. Do we want to talk about the fact, though, that it ultimately was all about, his love for her love for him is what, made her make the right choice. Now, at the end, he's like, I stand for love. That's what I believe in. So,
speaking of things shoehorned in, I wouldn't say that was really that, but I, not knowing much about Wonder Woman, didn't expect it to have this theme of love is what really matters. Yeah. Especially since that's not something I got from her in Batman v Superman. And I know that's
Did we get anything from her in that?
I know. You love that theme. You love that theme.
It's great stuff.
It is, how is it, simultaneously cheesy.
And epic.
And a little too badass, but also it makes it feel badass. So it's,
Yeah, but as far as the love.
Yeah, so as far
Where is the love? Aww.
Right here.
Aww.
Anyway. So, as for the love, I wasn't expecting that to be in there. I just kind of sat there with my arms crossed, thinking, is this really necessary?
I think that the first half of the movie is, really strong. Mm-hmm. I think the second half is more hit or miss, but I still think this is a really solid superhero movie. One of the best origin movies we've seen. Not the best, but one of the best.
Right.
I think part of my issue with the ending, I felt like we didn't need, when they had that moment where, he couldn't really, we couldn't hear what he was saying or whatever, they didn't need to cut back to what he actually said. They could have just made, I felt like I knew what he said, basically, right? And that was, one of those things where either just have him say it the first time, or don't cut back to it, literally, 5 minutes later, or whatever it was. And so that felt a little silly. And then, it's hard for me not to groan a little bit at love being such a direct thing going on here because it's the first big female superhero movie. Yeah. That, I don't begrudge her having a love interest.
Me neither.
And I think that generally they handled it well, and that, she had a love interest, but he didn't define her. Mm-hmm. She did her own thing. She went against what he wanted.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
Throughout the entirety of the movie.
Yeah. He was they brought different things to each other. Mm-hmm. You could say maybe he was a little bit condescending, I guess, but also he also was impressed by her, and in his situation, most people, it makes sense to be a little bit condescending. I think she's crazy.
Right.
So
And for her, the way he saw it was, it's her idealism. It's her misunderstanding of the world.
Yeah.
And at first, I think it started out as him just, this is how I get her.
Yeah. I'm a spy and I manipulate as best I can. Yeah.
And then it became I almost don't want to disappoint her with the reality of the world. Yeah. Until he really thought he had to, or she would ruin everything.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just felt a little bit, and I'm not against her. It's the fact that it was so climactically about, his love showed me that, because it could have easily been, I see there are good people, because he had his whole group of people that were also doing good things. Yeah. And it could have even still been about, I loved him and I cared, but instead be he proved to me that there's good in man too. Right. You didn't have to use the word, made me believe in love. And, it just went a little bit too far there for me.
I didn't need it to be the last resonating thing in the movie.
But speaking of things at the end of the movie, shall we talk about Ares?
Oh, I was just about to say that.
Yeah. So you and him probably really connect.
You would think that I would be Ares, you go, man.
You all right?
Right? Great.
God of truth.
Sure, my truth.
Yeah.
I speak my truth. Anyway, so the thing with Aries was overall the character design in the flashback of the origin works. And David Thewlis, also known as Remus Lupin to many, he, as the minister, the lord, or whatever he was,
whatever his position was in England.
Exactly. Yeah. He was even menacing when he was revealed to be Aries, walking around.
Yeah, his whole speech I thought was really well done.
Right.
Well written, well acted.
Yes.
Yeah.
But seeing him dressed as Aries was so ridiculous.
It was really goofy.
So
the mustache.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. And it's too bad because when they first started fighting and he was not even in the armor and stuff yet, I was like, this is horrific. Yeah. And then he got the armor. I was like, okay, cover his face, have him have red eyes.
Just
because the thing is, I think the look of the actual the armor and stuff was rock solid.
Yeah.
What I expect from Ares. I think a lot of his attacks and things reminded me of things that I remember.
Yes.
So I thought generally Ares was good. I think the twist of him being the real Ares was pretty solid.
Yeah.
We both thought maybe it was going to be Dr. Poison or whatever.
Right. We thought that it would be her. If it wasn't the general under whom she was after, and after she declared her loyalty to him, to Steve.
Yeah.
Then it'll definitely be her at the end of the day. So.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so it was interesting and. At the same time, so we just saw it, so we haven't read up on this or whatever. I'm still confused about who the guy that he thought was Ares actually was. If he was some kind of demigod, or if Ares just made him super powered by whispering in Dr. Poison's ear. I was a little confused about all that.
I didn't read that far into it, and maybe I should have, but I just saw him as a pretty evil guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Evil German trope, which is appropriate for that era.
Even if he had just been the villain, he was still a better villain than Red Skull, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we should talk about the Captain America, Thor sort of corollaries here.
There were a bunch.
Yes.
Not only did it feel first of all, Steve.
Yeah.
In several senses.
Yes.
It felt like...
Steve sacrifices himself at the end of the movie.
Yes. Blonde, named Steve.
Yeah.
They're both real names for Chris. Pecs for days.
They both do it in the air and
They do it in the air. Oh.
They both sacrifice themselves. If you want to think about them doing it in the air, that's okay.
Yeah, works too. The metaphor.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I would say overall, it's a war-based origin story.
Yeah.
Someone who has a lot of enthusiasm and naivete.
Yeah.
And then Peggy is to Steve as Cap is to Wonder Woman, Diana.
And of course there's the sort of Thor, fish out of water, god, mythology, all part of it. So I was saying to you, I think that this, yes, it takes things from both of them. I think it's better than both movies combined. Those movies have charm. They had their place in time. I think that their sequels and stuff Thor 2 isn't great, but I think Winter Soldier and all that stuff have been a lot better. But I think that this movie, I just think Wonder Woman was given room to breathe and be a real protagonist.
Yes.
And she had complexity and made mistakes and learned things, had a real arc. I mean, this is one of the most legitimate arcs I've seen for a superhero.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And at first I was concerned with how much time we were spending with young Diana.
Yeah.
But it paid off, and I liked it, and I appreciated that time. Yeah. I never felt... This happens a lot, especially with long movies, action-y movies. Yeah. I feel the passage of time acutely. I can tell, it's still happening. Yeah. This didn't feel long. Yeah. I could tell time was passing and it was going, but it didn't feel excessive.
To me, it felt a little long in the last third. Okay. But I absolutely loved everything on Themyscira. Yeah. And I think that we should talk about the fight scenes were really strong, especially at the beginning, I think.
This is a little strange, but that opening choreography, or not opening choreography, that beach battle.
Yeah, where her aunt dies. Spoilers.
We already gave him a warning. You get one.
I think they actually might have gotten 2, because I probably am going to put a lower third at the very beginning. You get 2. Now you're having 3. All right.
It's enough. Anyway, that brought me to tears.
Wow.
For a very interesting reason. And
love Robin Wright.
I mean, yeah. Have you seen House of Cards? Praise. But you get to see women dying. And the reason I like that is it almost it's something we don't see very often in action movies. Often because there's only one or two.
Yeah.
So either they kind of have to live.
Yeah.
Or because they're dying, it's to be like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is a brutal thing.
Yeah.
This is something that we don't want to mess around. We're not messing around. We killed the girl.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like, they are the warriors. They are the badasses. Yeah. They're at a disadvantage against guns, and they're still holding their own. They still win at the end of that day.
I think if they're smart, then in a sequel, the other Amazons will play a bigger role.
I think that.
We need a climactic final battle with all the Amazons.
Well, from what I understand, Diana still doesn't know everything. Partially, we don't think that Ares is gone forever.
I doubt it highly, which I'm hoping they recast him.
I really hope they recast. I love David Thewlis, but no, not for that part.
I mean, honestly, what I'm expecting is that, not that he'll fight him again in a sequel, but that he'll be, like, pulling the strings. Or whatever.
Haunting somehow, or even in a flashback of some kind. I don't know. Going back to the choreography.
Yeah.
Not only was it great in the one-on-one fights of her just taking guys down, but I loved her in the no man's land.
Yeah, that was good.
Coming out, and it was her in the forefront.
Yeah.
And the guys were her backup. And they had her covered and everything, but it was about her.
Yeah.
And it was
her coming out moment.
It really was. Yeah. And it was like, this is her movie, and I love that. So, yes.
Yes. That is part of why I think that this was better than Captain America and Thor. Is what was their, like, fuck yeah, they're here and they're their power and they're their character moment. Like, there was nothing on that scale, I feel like.
I mean, I don't remember much of Thor.
Well, the thing is, I think in these early, even Iron Man 1, these early Marvel movies, they didn't really understand, like, action yet.
No.
They didn't really have the budget, and they didn't, like, Cap, like, barely did anything cool until Winter Soldier, where that was his actual coming out thing.
I loved Winter Soldier.
But as far as the action, I think the action was very solid. I think part of the reason that the third act also felt a little bit flat for me was I always think that when they get to this, like, god level, like, they're flying and bashing each other and stuff, it's not as exciting as when there was just, like, the sword fighting one-on-one, like, more down to earth stuff.
I agree with you, actually. I do agree with you there.
There was one thing that I was surprised by as far as my reaction to it, because it's never been my reaction in the past, which is it was the first time I ever felt sort of uncomfortable watching her in that sort of scantily clad outfit. I didn't feel that way in Batman v Superman. I didn't feel that way watching the trailers or whatever. I think they kind of made me feel uncomfortable because of how much they were sort of drawing attention to it.
Right.
Like, she was wearing that overcoat, and that he kept being like, oh, don't take it off, you're, like, barely wearing clothes.
Right.
And so it was like, I understand, like, in the confines of the movie, it makes sense that he doesn't feel sexualized. He's strong and he feels comfortable. They made all the jokes about, like, oh, she couldn't fight in the other things. This is what she fights in.
Right.
I think that makes sense. I like the joke about the glasses.
I love that joke with the secretary calling out the... Yeah, I loved her. The secretary calling out the trope of, oh, you think that if you put glasses on her, she's not going to be the most gorgeous woman ever, Yeah.
Yes.
I love that.
Of course, I thought she was the most cute and attractive when she had the glasses on.
You have a type. You have a type.
Honestly, until she put on the normal clothes, I was like, oh, I get why people like her, but I'm not that into her. Then she put on, like, the hat and stuff. Oh, that hat looks good on her.
I love that outfit. And, the glasses, it was just, oh, this is a funny joke. Meanwhile, you were like, yes. Everything about this.
Oh, man. I feel like because they were focusing so much on, like, oh, this isn't normal dress or whatever, which I think was partially, like, the time period stuff, too.
Yes. But
it made me more aware of the fact that I'm like, he's a strong character. Why? I mean, and he only dressed like this because it's, it was a comic originally written
and illustrated
and made for men.
Yeah, I get that. I understand. It actually, it bothered me more in the trailers.
Oh, really?
Because it was such a, like, oh, they're getting us to want to watch the movie, or at least men or people interested in women, to watch the movie by saying, like, look at her.
Yeah.
Shedding her clothes. Oh, yeah, she's going to be so sexy in this movie. Yeah. Whereas in reality, in the context of the film, I mean,
in
reality.
The reality of Wonder Woman.
This has been in my World War I history books, right? Right?
Yep. Just that same image that we've now seen 5,000 times.
That's oh so special and rare. Yes. So of her coming out, it's like, this is her becoming herself.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to be ashamed of anymore. And this is a battle, and she's already this goddess, really, coming forward. So it's not improper for her to be so scantily clad.
Yeah, and it's always that weird, when you're talking about gender representation stuff, that weird balance of like, oh, is this like sex positivity or like body positivity versus you could look at that lens if you want to be generous, but you could also just be like, but she's just actually dressed that way for the guys. But the thing is, in no way is she a subject in this movie. Is she an object in this movie? She is the subject. And so I think it was, like, I'm not really saying it's a critique of the movie for me as much as it was just, I was surprised to find myself a little bit uncomfortable.
And I'm sure you weren't the only one, honestly. I mean, I appreciated the tongue-in-cheek nature of the movie. Yeah. I enjoyed the balance of the action with the romance. Yeah. And I really hope that this just is an example that, hey, women can be the leads.
Yep. Marvel, look out for that.
Marvel, looking at you, kid. You don't want to meet me.
Yeah.
So it's this thing of, well, women have learned to relate to male heroes. Yeah. And I think men can relate to female heroes and still have a great time. I
think to a degree that was why I felt uncomfortable. Which is that, like, they were making her a full character, and that, like, I was sympathizing with her as a person. Then I was just like, oh, remember this is, like, a male fantasy character?
I actually know a little bit about the history of how Wonder Woman came about, and let me tell you guys, it's an interesting read. And I don't mean the comic, I mean the origin story.
She's an interesting character.
She is, sure. But she means more than that now, and it's nice to have her get her, you know.
She feels like she can be an icon again, and I feel like, yes, nobody forgot about her completely, but they forgot about the specifics beyond, there was this Wonder Woman character who was strong.
There was the token woman, and I feel like hopefully there will come a time where it's less reductive.
I mean, I think without a doubt, the general consciousness is now feeling like she's the strongest part of the DCEU.
Honestly, if you're not thinking that, I would be shocked.
I mean, the only real debatable, I mean, you could think the Batfleck was better, which I think is debatable, but I definitely still think Wonder Woman's the best part right now.
I think she's someone who's, for the jokes, she's in on them. Yeah. Whereas Batfleck is a joke. Yeah. Like, even if he's good, people.
Well, also he had like 1.5 cool fight scenes, which she like shit on in like the first 15 minutes. All right, I think that's most of our thoughts though. Good movie, go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
I loved it. I look
forward. My glass to you.
Yes, I look forward to seeing it on demand in 4 months.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Please check out my other videos on DoingOK, youtube.com/DoingOK, and subscribe.
We're going to have more dates. We love going to the movies.
Oh, yeah.
So there will be more dates with you, too.
Yes. So, see you in hell.